What up, everyone? It's your favorite boss up babe, Karissa Adkins. And y'all know I am all about bringing you the tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up, show up, and thrive in your life. Today, my guest is an expert at helping women become confident so that they can parent without worry, anxiety, doubt, and guilt. So today I am here with boss babe Cristina Ramirez, and Cristina is an expert. She's a coach. She's a mother. She is the CEO of Dash Storm Coaching. Cristina, welcome to the Boss Up Babe show. It's so good to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Well, I'm stoked, right? Today's topic is such a good one because I know that so many of my clients and your clients and just today's listeners, whoever's listening and catching this live or even on the replay, I know so many of them are parents. And I know firsthand how real the struggle is when it comes to parenting and being confident. I'm sure you get this a lot, but I have a 14-year-old who's still at home with me, and I feel like it's my job as a mama to really help her become the best version of herself, right? To show her what a confident mama looks like, to show her what a healthy mom looks like, whether it's in my relationships, my business, like we are leading an example. And I can't wait to really talk to you about, how you help these women specifically kind of grow their confidence. Before we dive into your amazing area of expertise, this, of course, is the Boss Up Babe show. And I believe that every woman has a story, has a journey, has, some moment in their life where if they can really boss up and overcome that they can, lead the way and share their story and really inspire other women to do the same. So, with that in mind, I cannot wait to hear a little bit about your story, but more specifically, because again, we have years and years of stories we could tell you, right. But tell me about a time in your life where you had to literally boss up and do something, take responsibility for your life. Tell me about a time like that.
Sure. And I think like you, there's so, all women boss up, especially as we become moms, because it's not like kids come with an instruction manual and we're told what to do. So you have to boss up, you have to show up because now you have this little human depending on you. And that's really scary. So, kudos to all of us moms who show up and boss up to be the moms that we want to be. And I think that bossing up is also a habit. It becomes something that we do multiple times throughout our lives, almost every day when we show up, and then it becomes who we are, so that when these big challenges come, then it's a little bit easier because it's already part of who we are. And so when I was thinking, like, okay, what was the time that I really had to show up and boss up? I was like, damn, there's so many, but it's something that I'm experienced with. I feel like it's something that, like, I know that everything can be taken away from me tomorrow and I'll make it back because that's just a part of who I am now. But to get there, I had to overcome a lot of things. So if you ask me, like, the biggest thing that I had to overcome, I think it would be, I'll tell you just something recent with my business, right? If I want to have the impact that I know I can have and to help as many moms out there that I can, it means I have to show up as the CEO, as the entrepreneur, as the leader that can do that. But inside of me is this little girl that is terrified, right? Like everybody else. And it's like, holy shit, like, who am I to be the expert? Who am I to do this? And that comes from all the years and years of conditioning that that we all have. Yeah. And showing up for my business differently has been the biggest bossing up that I've done in the past couple of years. And just saying, it's like, no, I have my voice. I know who I am, and I know what I can and can't do, what I can help with and what I can't, and being able to invest in my business and spend money that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm taking money away from my family to invest in this business. Like, what a, like, am I gambling with my family's future? Like, oh, having to overcome all those doubts and fears has really been my latest bossing up strategy or bossing up need. But
Yeah.
again, it's hard, but it's not that hard because I've conditioned that in me for so many years. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you bring up such an interesting. I speak to a lot of women, right? I've been interviewed a lot, and I've never once even looked at that perspective of like bossing up is a habit. I'm the queen of habit change. So that just like blew my mind. I'm like, what? Right. So
Mhm.
like bossing up becomes a habit. And you're totally right. We all like that first moment is like super scary. And it's like, oh, if I do this, it could go the wrong way. But I know where I'm at now is not working. So I have nothing to lose. But over years of just doing that and bossing up and being courageous and being like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to wear this outfit today. And no matter what people think, it doesn't matter how, like what your boss up moment looks like. I think it does become a conditioning pattern for us. And now I thrive on, I'm like, what's next? What
Right.
else is going to challenge me? And that's such a cool, unique perspective on it. So tell me a little bit, like, give me even some backstory because you got to where you are today because of some story, some boss up moment that just changed your life forever. Tell me about that story.
Sure. So I think, if I go back, I was in a mental institution and I belonged there, right? I was in my 20s. I like this was a long time ago. I'm not that girl anymore, that woman anymore. So I have no
Yeah.
problems talking about it. But at that time, I was young, I was lost, and I did not want to live, or I thought I didn't want
Mhm.
to live. And I was living overseas. So this is what happens. You overdose and then you go to the ER and then they pump your stomach and then they send you back home the same day.
Mm.
So there is
Yeah.
no follow up to really help you
Mm.
because someone that is consistently overdosing, like there's a problem,
Yeah.
right? And it wasn't until I came back to the US and, was in a hospital where I belonged that I was able to heal and to get the help that I really needed. And I remember one day, like, and it was a locked ward, right? Like if I wanted to smoke a cigarette, which I smoked profusely at the time, I couldn't just light up a cigarette. I had to go to a special room, and there was like a burner on the wall. And around the burner, there was this iron little gate, and it was like big enough that your cigarette could go through, but not big enough so that your finger couldn't go through.
Wow.
And I needed that because I was the girl that would have stuck my finger in there
Right.
to feel something, to something, that's the space that I was.
Mm.
And one point in there, I realized, you know what, like, I am not going to die. Like, I,
Mhm.
like if I really wanted to die, I would have died already. I'm not an idiot, right? But I realized that I just wanted a part. I just didn't want to feel the way that I was feeling anymore. It was a part of me that wanted to give, like that wanted that part to be done. And it was like a rebirth. I'm not a religious person, but it was kind of a rebirth. It was the moment where I said, I need to do something different. I need to show up here because I am not going to die. And if I'm not going to die, I need to learn how to live.
Yeah.
And that was the moment that I started listening, that I started taking advice, that I wasn't fighting the people that were trying to help me, that I identified with other people's stories so that they could guide me. That was the moment that everything changed. And again,
Mm.
like this was 2002, 2003. So it was a while ago, but that was the moment that life became life again
Yeah.
versus something that I was trying to destroy.
Yeah, so good. Like I think that we all have those moments too where we hit that rock bottom moment. And I when I look back and tell my own health and wellness story, of weighing 213, like that girl would make excuses and stories. And I loved being the victim. Some part of me needed to like stay connected to this victim, Karissa, and just play small and just be the victim. And it wasn't until 5 years later that I was like, I am a freaking warrior, and that's where I belong, and I'm going to help other women become that. And so I just think it's like important to like identify if you're going through something, like, are you being the victim or, and staying in that. And, we say we want help or we say we're drowning in this and whatnot, but it takes self responsibility. Like, you have to take some
Right.
ownership and you have to be
Right.
like, okay, I need to either drop these BS excuses and stories and victimhood and like walk into being this powerful babe. So, with that, what would be your, I don't want to go back to that the first story you really told us, because it was really just in alignment with, I think, where a lot of people are right now.
Mhm.
What would be your biggest struggle that you really had to overcome, that you think?
My biggest struggle that I had to overcome. Well, I think I've had, like everybody, like there are tons of struggles, right? So my I've had struggles in my health. Like I wasn't 230 pounds, but like I was that ex-smoker sitting on the couch gaining weight, and I saw my two little kids. And I was like, damn, like I want to be the mom. I want to be the mom that does stuff with my kids and, that goes on a hike with them. And the way I couldn't even run around the block. So that inspired me to get off the couch. And so that was my health struggle, right? And today I live in the mountains and I go snowboarding with my kids every weekend.
So
And I
cool.
can do that because of bossing up, because of showing up and that struggle. But that was a huge struggle. In my family dynamics, we've had illnesses, we've had things that we had to like at one point I had to say is like, I need to, this is either going to work or this is either going to work. My business is going to make it or my business is going to make it because there is no plan B here.
Right.
So I think those situations gave me the opportunity to show up and to boss up. And I don't know if I'm answering your question directly. I just
That, and I was like, okay, I probably wasn't super clear with the story I wanted.
yes.
Because at first you went, I'm actually experiencing a moment right now in my business,
Okay.
and
Okay.
so I want to know the biggest struggle that you have like in your business,
Okay.
and like balancing, being a mama and being a CEO and a coach and everything. We all wear multiple hats, but then what is also, so I want the biggest struggle, but I want the biggest key to your success.
Okay. So I think my struggle in terms of my business, there's two, but I think the most relatable one has to do with balance and kids, right? So one is my first struggle is I have this vision, like I want to do all these things. I want to have this impact and, and have this race and do whatever, all these other things. But my self-worth is like, well, am I really there's a dissonance between, or there used to be a dissonance between what I thought I was worth or worthy of and what I wanted. So I had to like I did a lot of work to kind of put those things into alignment. And then the second struggle is like, okay, but is it okay for me to want these things when I'm a mom? Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't my family come first? And my kids are like I live in a small town and they're leaving home next year. They're 13 and 15 and they're going to a boarding school. And it's like an art, it's like a public, it's not like your traditional whatever. But they're leaving home.
They're leaving.
And they're young. And so I'm like, do I not do my business and focus on them for the next 6 months because they're leaving? Or do I focus on my business because that's what makes me and that's going to allow me to do other things for them? And, again, what I said, like, am I gambling with my family's future when I'm taking money from us to invest in my business, which is also for us, but it's still, I love my business so much and I have so much fun that sometimes I think, it's like,
It's like
I feel like
another
selfish
child.
about that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So and the way that I overcame that is that, we are all living each of our paths. My kids have their paths, I have my path, and my not giving myself permission to live my path is not only not going to be a good example for my kids, but it's also going to be to their detriment because I don't care who you are, you're going to be resentful. You are. You're going to be like, so let's say that I hadn't invested in my business and I had to buy a new snowboard for my kid. I was like, I can't, like, I can give you the snowboard, and or he says like, well, I don't want that snowboard. I want that snowboard. And that snowboard is like $200 more.
Mhm.
And I'll be like, are you kidding me? Like, do you know what I had to sacrifice so that you could get the snowboard? And
Yeah.
now you want $200 more when I wasn't able to put $200 in my business?
Yeah.
And I know that we laugh, but we do that.
Yeah.
And we need to be honest about it, because it will come out to our kids.
Hmm.
Then what is our kid going to think? Is like, I'm not worthy of that snowboard that is
Right.
$200 more because I took something away from my mom.
Right.
And that's not fair to
That
them.
doesn't sit well either. Yeah.
Right. So you have to, I think I overcame it by giving myself permission to have my dreams, to have my business, to have my goals, while allowing my kids to have their own dreams and their own visions and their own goals. And if they want something, to work for them, and they're a part of my business. They give me
Yeah.
ideas. They were in, I have another business that is with running, and they were in my run club for years. So, I incorporate them, and I think that way we all happily move forwards together.
Yes, I would agree. I sat on a panel one time and she was like, the questions was for busy mamas as entrepreneurs, really, because we view our businesses like another baby. We're like, we put effort and energy and money and time and sweat and blood and tears. And it's just so true. Like you have to, I think if you're listening and you have a business and you're trying to get even a side hustle, trying to get that going, incorporate that with your kids, like make them a part of that vision. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I'm sure Christina, your kids are a part from what you just shared with me, but my daughter's my biggest fan, right? When before I
Mhm.
wrote my first book, she's like, Mom, one of your books is going to be on this shelf. Like every bookstore we would go, like she believed in the vision that I shared with her. And then I truly believe she helped me manifest it that much quicker because I had another little generator, working. But
Yeah.
cool. So just to kind of recap, what I heard was the biggest struggle, even currently, and I think balance is just a big one for all areas of our life, but biggest struggle or obstacle is just really finding that balance between our business, our careers, and our children and our families. And then your key to your success on that one would be incorporating, right? Start to blend in the family with the business and give yourself, the biggest thing is give yourself permission
Yes.
to live big, to invest in yourself, invest in your business.
Yeah.
If you can pour, more into you, you're then giving into everyone else. So I'm so glad that we've had kind of just a couple of minutes. Honestly, it's not enough time. I would love to pick your brain on all of your stories. I love learning and hearing them. But we've heard a little bit about this boss up story of yours, a couple of them.
Mhm.
So before we kind of dive into like this burning question that I have for you and some of your keys to your success on how you can help other mamas really gain that sense of confidence, where can our listeners find you right now? Do you have a website, Facebook page, group? What's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Sure. The best way is through my website, which is
Okay.
www-strum. I don't know why I picked that name.com. So it's DASHSTROM.
Love it.
So that's you'll see my bio there, you'll see my story there, and what I can actually do to help moms. I can't, like, there's the moms that I can help, and then there are moms that I can, and it'll be very specific about, if that's you, how I can help you.
Cool, cool, cool. And Facebook group, you have an amazing, what's the Facebook group that you have for mamas specifically?
For mamas is the art of oh my gosh, the art of parenting with confidence. So AOWPC. AOW. So Facebook
Gotcha.
groups AOWPC.
And I'll put all of that in the show notes down below, especially once this recording is kind of done with our live and we'll go out and be all over. So I'll make sure I put all of your contact information for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Are you ready for my burning question?
Yes, go for
All
it.
right. So specific question really for you. So what happens when a mom is not parenting from a place of confidence? Like, how does this really affect her children?
It has an enormous effect on them, because all you're doing is passing your lack of confidence to the next generation.
Mm.
So you are not empowering them to be different. Like, however you are, they're going to be. So if you like, let's say that you're not parenting with confidence, right? So one day you say, your son comes up to you and is like, Mom, can I invite this person over for dinner? And you're like, of course you can invite somebody over. This is your house. We're always open, like, please. And, like, why are you even asking me, so silly of you? Right? Like, this is an open house. And then 2 days later, like, they come to us like, okay, Mom, I invited that person to dinner, but you're cranky or you're not in a good space. And you're like, are you kidding me? Like, who do you think you are? Like, why are you invited? Like, so
Yeah.
if you don't know who you are and what you want and what the rules are and what the boundaries are, your kid is going to be super confused because he's not going to know what, or she is not going to know what is right, what is wrong. And most importantly, how does she fit in? And was it her
Mm.
fault that you became upset? Right.
Yeah.
So it's, and when you pass that on to them, then they're not going to have those bound, they're not going to know how to stand up for themselves or how to even be. And they're going to be that people pleaser that's like, is it okay? Like, can I do this? Because I don't know. Like, they're not, their sense of self is not
Mhm.
going to be existent. And I don't mean to, like, I am not a perfect parent by any stretch of the imagination, nor
I
are
don't
you,
think any of us are, to
nor
be
is
real with you.
anybody, right? But
Yeah.
there's a difference between the parent that allows their
Mhm.
kids to be whoever they need to be. Because when you're unclear about the boundaries, you're also very controlling
Mm.
because you're like, well, let's say that your kid has an app for soccer, right? And they're like, okay, it's soccer, 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 because that's how they're going to go to college, because that's a reflection of me. If they do that, then I'm a good mom. And
Mhm.
so then you start controlling what team they're in and what practice they're in and what they eat for dinner and what birthday party they go to and who their best friends are, because it's all focused on this
Right.
soccer, 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 because now you're like your self-image, because you're not confident, you're imposing that on that poor kid. And so, if, God forbid, that kid in middle school says, you know what, kind of like baseball. Oh my God. Like,
Like,
you're like, no, you can't like baseball. It's soccer. Like, it's soccer. We've been soccer since kindergarten. We're soccer until college, damn it.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're not going to allow your child to be who he or she needs to be, but you're going to control everything about them so that they make up for your for
Yeah.
your not incompetence, but for your misgivings, for
Mhm.
your lack of confidence. Because if you do that right, like if you get that parenting thing right and they get that scholarship too, then you're going to feel okay.
Yeah.
So it's that, the lack of clarity in where the boundaries are really does not give that child the sense of self, and the controlling of not giving them permission to be who they're going to be will
Mhm.
also breed that insecure child, and then a very resentful one at you when they're older.
Nice. Wow. I just even thought about when you said, um, your biggest key was giving yourself permission. So I can't even imagine a child who's just learned to like, sure, it's okay to do that. And then they ask permission and we always say no. It's no wonder we're conditioned to be like, well, even if I ask permission or give myself permission, I'm always going to find a way to say no in some way, shape, or form. So kind of
Yeah.
interesting thing. Okay, so a couple more minutes left on the show, and I really want to get laser focused in. You have a master class, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going to end with this because we got like a really good key to your success. I feel like giving yourself permission to just boss up and do you, be the parent that you need to be, like, is so big. So tell me really quickly in the last minute to give like what your masterclass is.
Sure. The masterclass is just 4 simple shifts that you need to make in order to be that confident mom. And it goes into first why you do the things that you do, and explains like the science and the neuroscience behind it. And they'll give you a couple of tips of things that you can do right now that will help you at least be aware of what you need to change. I'm not promising you that you're going to watch my masterclass, which is like 20 minutes, and like your life is going to be wonderful, but you're going to get it. You're going to be like, oh my God, like that is what I'm doing, or that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then you'll have a couple of tools to move you forward.
I love it, girl. You know I'm all about tools and strategies and tips to help us. So if you are a parent who really maybe you didn't even think you were struggling with being a confident parent, but now your eyes are a little bit more open, please make sure you reach out. I'll put in the show notes the masterclass sign up. It sounds amazing. I definitely am going to encourage even my own clients to sign up. So really quickly, let me just kind of end with this. If you're needing to boss up as a parent, reach out to Christina. I am Karissa Adkins. I'm a health and wellness expert. And if you need to boss up in your health and in your well being, I help women all the time lose weight, double their energy, and feel sexy as hell so that they can show up as the confident woman that I know that they are in your life. So, with that, Christina, thank you so much for being on the BossUp Babe radio show. I wish you so much success. I know this is not the last time we're going to talk. I want to come to Taos and do a retreat with you, which I think would be totally awesome.
Love it.
But yes, thank you so much for being on this show. I hope to have you back. I'd love to just keep picking your brain. So
thank you for having me, Karissa.
You're welcome. So ladies, boss babe, queens and mamas, I hope that you enjoyed today's Boss Up Babe story, her tips, and her expert advice. Give yourself permission to boss up. And if something today really resonated with you, if it just is like, ooh, right? Like drop in the comments, share one of your favorite parts about today's show. And of course, you can always catch the replay on 365dailyhustle.com. Bye, guys. Stay thriving.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Boss Up Babe Radio Show with Karissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Karissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.